Hello everyone, this is Kaustubh here from InsightStat, and in this new video we are going to talk about logical functions in DAX. So the logical functions that we are going to talk about today are if error, and, or, and the most important one is switch. So hang on till the end and we will talk about what is switch and how to go about it. So let's start with if. Now we have used if before. In our previous videos we saw what is if. So if checks a condition and it returns a value when it's true, or else it returns a second value when the original expression returns to false or evaluates to false, right? So in if we will have an expression to evaluate, we will have to come up with a value if that expression evaluates to true, and we will have to come up with an alternate value if that expression evaluates to false. Now what is if error? Now if there is an error while evaluating this expression, how do we handle those error? In that case we have if error. So it's similar to if but returns a specified value if the expression returns an error, right? And the expression is very simple. If error, what is the value, and what is the value do we want if it throws an error. It's as simple as that. Next we have and. Again, it checks if two arguments are true and returns true only when both are true, else it will return false. Even if one of them is false, it will return false. And will always evaluate logic, and by rule it will only be two logic. If you need more than two logics to be evaluated, we cannot use and. In that case we will use ampersand, just like we used in our previous video, right? Similarly we have or. Or does not check the validity of two arguments or if they are true together, but it checks if if any one of them is true. So it checks two arguments. Again, it will only take two arguments and returns true even if one of them is true. It does not need both to be true. So it is either or. If logic 1 is true and logic 2 is false, it will still return true. Similarly, if logic 1 is false and logic 2 is true, it will still return true. Now comes switch. So what is switch? So switch evaluates an expression against a list of values and returns one of multiple possible result expressions. Seems a little complex. Don't worry, we will dissect it and we will understand what switch does. So switch, as of now, just remember, it's like evaluating multiple if conditions. So we would have an expression and we would try and evaluate different conditions of that expression, and when the values matches any value matches this expression, we will come up with different results, right? So just like this, we have value 1 result 1, we will have a value 2 result 2, value 3 result 3, numerous values in result pairs, and then this is an optional else condition which will handle any other values if none of the values matches the result. Then we would capture it with the else optional else statement, right? Okay, now let's put this into use. Let's go back to Power BI. Okay, now let's say I would want to evaluate, or I would want to come up with a new variable or a new column which would help me tag parents in the customer lookup table. I would want to know which of my customers are parents. So we will be rolling out, the business would be rolling out some kind of a discount for parents, and we would want to find out how many parents are there. How do we go about doing it? So for that I would go to my customer lookup table in the table view. So this is my customer lookup table, and if you see here, new column, click on new column, And now I'll say, is parent, is the person a parent? And then how do I do it? I want to check a condition here. I want to check a logic here. So I'll use if. So if, look at the logical test. Now how do I know if a person is a parent or not? So for that I'll use the total children column. I'd say wherever total children is greater than 0. That means a person has a children or has a child. Those are parents, right? So total children is greater than 0. Now these are parents. So I'll give it a flag of yes. And this is result if true. The moment I put a comma, the result if false gets highlighted, if you see here. So now I'd say no. Otherwise, anyone who is not a parent, I'll flag them as no. Close it, return, and look at this. Is parent is given as yes or no. Let's quickly do a QC. I'll click on no and look at total children. And let's look at total children. Do we have any other values other than 0? No, it's either blank or 0, right? So this is how we would use if. Now, how do we use and? And would always evaluate two expressions to a true. Both would have to return true, and then only and would return true. Now let's say the business comes up with a new logic. Now they're trying to find out, they're trying to come up with a tier, a business tier or a customer tier. They're saying that wherever the let me first take this out. Okay, now they're saying that wherever the annual income is greater than, let's say, $70,000, and the priority of this customer is a priority customer, then we would call this tier as a gold tier, or else it will be a silver tier. Understand what we are trying to do here. The business is trying to find out wherever annual income is greater than $70,000 and the priority of the customer is a priority customer, we will call these people gold tier. Otherwise, everyone is silver tier, right? How do we implement this? Let's try and find it out. Okay, again, since this is, I'm trying to find and do this calculation in the customer lookup table, I'll again use the customer lookup table, click on new column, and now I'll say customer tier. So how do we define the customer tier? Now it gets a little complex, but hang on with me. I'll explain the code in its entirety. So I'm trying to evaluate a condition again here. Again, if I'm evaluating a condition, I'll have to use I'll have to use if. Now, what is the condition that I'm evaluating, right? I'm evaluating two conditions. Since I'm evaluating two conditions and both of them have to return a true, I'm using and. And will use two logical conditions. My first logical condition is if the annual income is greater than 70,000. And my second logical, look at this, the moment I put a comma here, the second logical is if priority is equal to priority. If these two logical conditions satisfy, I will call these customers as the goal customers, or else the result if false is all are silver customers, right? We'll close the if condition, right? So all my parenthesis matches now, open and close parenthesis. So enter, Okay, we have silver, we see some silvers here. Let's see if we have some gold. Yes, we have some gold. Let's go and filter out the gold. And look at this. So these are all priority customers. And look at their annual income. The annual income is greater than 70,000, right? So this might seem a little complex as compared to what we have been doing, but this is how we can use two or more functions together, right? Similarly, we can use OR, and in the next video, we will be talking about the most important function, that is switch. So I have dedicated one video for switch so that I can explain it better. So in this video, we just talked about if and how to use AND, if error, and OR. Right. So if you have any questions, please put it in the comment section. I'll be more than happy to answer. If you have liked this video, please put in a like and subscribe. Thank you so much. I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.